Hello, 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 and welcome to One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. Could you guess? I bet you could guess. Today is Wednesday. A wonderful Wednesday, the 28th. Only a couple more days left of the year. I hope you guys are spending it well, enjoying yourselves. Hello, Juan. Hello, Dukasoft, and hello, Tyron. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Woo. What a day. What a nice day. I need to save all of this stuff. Close out of a bunch of windows. All right, I did something that's hopefully fun. And hopefully it works. But I guess we'll find out as the stream goes on. I am now running the bot as a Windows service. So it's always running on my computer unless I stop the service. And yeah. I don't know. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it does what I want it to do. But I want to close a bunch of stuff. Botnet service. And that way, I don't have to have a PowerShell window open all the time just to have the bot running. And I can have multiple clients open at the same time pointing to it. I will eventually have a browser source, actually multiple browser sources for, what is it? I don't even know what port I'm running on. Port, I think. Is this right? Yes, it is. It is right. And so I will be able to have that running in here. And I don't know, I might even be able to make a, oh wow, why didn't that actually get me the commands though? I might be able to make an actual OBS extension in some way that will shape to the size of whatever the frame is. But it'll be fun. We'll figure it out. Yay. And the bot does work. Thank you, Dukasoft, for finding that out. So Juan Von is wondering, what do we need to run the app? It never works on the PC. Okay, so let's go over that. First of all, clone the current branch that we're on, which I haven't committed to in a while. Because I haven't really done very much on it. So let's head on over to the GitHub project. Which is where? github.com/onelion/financial management. Thank you, Dukasoft. Thank you. So the project that we've been playing with is this financial management tracker. We're currently on this implement lookups list service. And so that would be the branch to clone or to check out once you clone the project. So clone it however you want to clone it. Use GitHub Desktop, use command line, use Visual Studio directly. and switch branches to the current branch that we're on, which I'll commit to shortly, but we currently have something that we're working through. It's almost done. We're really, really close. All we got to do is figure out why come this thing is giving us an error, which we're going to do today. But once you do that, the next steps are to set up the database. So set the migrations project as your startup project. Head over to the package manager console. Make sure that the migrations is the default project listed here, and do an update database. This will use local DB, by the way. If you want a different database, like if you have a SQL Server or you want to use a different provider, then you'll have to change program.cs to use that, your other provider, and add a secrets file or update app settings directly. Manage user secrets, and then update the connection string for the database provider that you want. But otherwise, as I mentioned, it will use local DB. Yeah, so that is an extension written by Thindle, a member of our community. He also streams, and it's called Nodocs. It's for anyone that happens to be presenting or streaming or anything else that has to do with showing secrets on the screen that they don't want actually shown. And if you look up in the extension, it's called Nodocs. Don't dox yourself. Really cool stuff. Thanks, Dukasoft. You're so cool. Man. So awesome. So yeah. And that should be everything to do to get started, to get the app running. Or at least set up. So then to run it, pick one of the project types. I would recommend for now using findandman.server until we test all of them. So this is the Blazor WebAssembly version. This is the Blazor server version, and this is a Maui project, and they're all going to use the exact same UI along with backend services, or I guess backend services are down here. And the easiest way to run it from, in my opinion, from your machine is to cd into that directory, which is the WASM one, server, and then .NET Watch. Of course, you could just set it as your active and then run or run without debugger. And so that opened over here because why not? Even though the last browser I opened was this one. Whatever. And then you have a running app. Hey, look, a button. And the button didn't crash this time. Wait, what? Oh, yes, it did. I don't know why it didn't show us the error. You done broke it. The request to add payees failed. Internal server error 500. Show it again. And the internal server error exception was not implemented exception. Lookup item service line 227 on shared server. The grass is always greener on the other monitor. Maybe you have your tint a little bit too green, or not green enough on the other one. Right, right. And we made it to here. is what the issue is, because the view model that we're getting here is not of the right type. So we're going to put a breakpoint here, which is also up here in add lookup item during this to entity model. And what we can, and then I also still have this. What? That's not going to help return RESP. So that would have been another issue. What we could do is wrap this in a tray catch real quick. Maybe handle this error a little bit better. Is it because you have HDR turned on the other one? And on exception, we can do something like if trans, well, trans is not going to be null at all. So we will just do await trans rollback async to undo any pending changes that we had and add an error, resp add error, the request to add the new $sign type of this. Railed. We'll put the generic message that we get back from here. And then if we're in debug, then we will also add the exception. Although I don't think that this is going to work every time. I had an issue where I was adding the exception. I mean, I was adding the exception. And it had trouble serializing it because one of the things that it has is an int pointer, and we can't serialize int pointers. Proceed. Marcus, hello. Hello. I haven't really seen you on the stream lately, which is fine, obviously. Definitely okay. Not trying to make you feel bad about it. I don't know why that came out that way. Anyway, hello, Marcus. I hope you're doing fantastic today. Enjoying these last few days of the year before we turn over to the new year to have another series of exciting times.
Make it so.
Make it so. Yes. I love all of the TNG audio clips, which I'm getting closer to being able to customize my bot. Getting so close. So we don't have to rely on sound alerts, which has a limit of X number of sounds that you can play. Instead, I can add as many, whatever these are called, point redemptions, with as many sound clips as I want. You know? Hiccups. Okay, so we're going to see if this thing gives us something more meaningful this time. I push the button. Button says, wait, that one wasn't supposed to be an internal error anymore. We were supposed to catch the exception this time. What is going on? Waza. Waza? Waza. Okay. I think we're gonna have to debug this because we were supposed to hit this exception. Oh, wait. I think this is exactly what I was talking about, where it's not going to serialize my actual exception. Okay. So we aren't going to add the exception, which will be fine. We'll wait for it to rebuild and restart. Run it again. Get our not error 500. We'll get an error 200. Yeah, so it's giving us a payee, a lookup item view model of payee, not a payee view model. Aha. And why is that? Let's go back to the controller. You done broke it. Meaningful error messages. That's all I gotta say. So the thing that we're deserializing as is the wrong thing. Aha. Here we are. Payee view model. This should fix it. Marcus says, I like the way my clients believe just saying the word error tells me everything. I ran into an error when I was trying to use the app. Okay. When did it occur? What was the error message it gave you? Well, with meaningful errors like you done broke it, I mean, it doesn't work. Exactly, Dukasoft. I was trying to click on a button, but it didn't work. And there it is, a 200 OK. And now we go into the database. Angie, show me your database. Oh, he doesn't do that in public. Payees, view data. And now we have a random my new list item. So yes, we're able to at least add payees. Let's have this thing add one of each type then, just to test them all. Of course, I could just write a test instead. Man, I did not enjoy setting up the test for whatever, for the other thing. I can't remember what it was. Could equals should. I really didn't like setting up the test for the transaction entry stuff. And I thought it was going to be pretty easy to just set it up for a lookup list service because it's also using the just the same approach. Here's a whole bunch of initializing stuff, and instead of transaction entry service, it's just going to be the thing, the lookup list service, but I would need one for each type of lookup list. So like right now I have a test for all of the deposits, a test for all of the payments, test for all of the transfers. Then I would need one for accounts, payees, account types, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I could do. Yes, absolutely could have. I absolutely could have. And the test would have been, so if you can't see it on screen, Tyron asks, the real question is, could you have written a test to catch that bug you had a second ago? Absolutely. So the thing that I would have tested is the extension method or to entity model where I feed it a view model and get back the correct iLookup item type. So if I say I gave it an account view model, it's supposed to give me back a account object. Same thing with a lookup account type, should give me a lookup account type, and so on and so forth. So, actually, that would be wrong. What would I test for that? Because that's testing that my view model is correctly being converted to my database model, my entity. But the issue that we ran into was I was feeding it the wrong view model type with my API request. So I don't know how I would have tested for that. I guess my asserts would have been that TLOOKUP item view model is one of account view model, lookup account type, view model. The other 4 or 5 view models that are lookup items. Oh, actually, lookup item view model of lookup account type and payee view model. And then we would have gotten a lookup item view model of payee, which would have been an invalid input type, right? Something. So I don't know. It's still kind of complicated for my brain to think of what to test. And the only way that I'm going to get better at it is if I do the actual testing, if I write actual tests. So I'm just going to move these into this folder. I'm going to test, manually test 2 of them, and then I'll see if I can write actual tests for them. How does that sound? That way I'm not letting myself go down. I'm not letting myself down. Not words. All right, we're just going to copy one of these, rename you to count. Count service tests is fine by me. And they don't have, I didn't make any view model validators for any of them. So wherever this is used, let's just find that real quick. And then we don't need to worry about those for now until I actually make a validator for it. Taryn is saying VS test code coverage tool is a lifesaver. It tells you what blocks lines are tested and which aren't. Then you write test to cover more. The question is that available in Visual Studio Community? Because I remember having it in Enterprise at least. I used to have the glyphs for what has a test and what doesn't. And the only thing that you have is DB Context Factory. So I will just comment all this out for now. Yes, it can. Lookup item service. Oh, I did this one different. No, I didn't. Yes, I. What? I did this one different. Um, I did this one quite a bit different. Go to Test Explorer, right click on a group of tests and see if there's analyze code coverage. I will do that. So for now, let me just comment out all of this stuff. All right, is anyone angry? No one is angry. Oh, I'm angry. Here we go. S group. Is there a analyze code coverage? I'm not seeing it on the group itself. What about on a specific test? No. And then what about in run code analysis? It says code analysis completed. However, it's not really showing me anything. Output. Okay, we will get to that. We'll definitely look at it. I'm not seeing any other windows showing up, which I'm expecting windows to show up. Is that what you're seeing in your Visual Studio, Dugasoft? Oh, I have to find a code. Wow. Mouse, why are you being mean to me, mouse? I have code coverage in mind, but I think it's with Code Rush. Oh. I'm looking for view. Code metrics results. And Hiron didn't see it either. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm either missing an extension or I don't have the right version of Visual Studio or I'm just blind. Windows, code metric. Yeah, code metric results is what I have under analyze. Control Q, code coverage results. Nada. Oh, code coverage settings. Yeah, and the closest we got is code metrics results. So let's look at code coverage settings. And the only thing we have is test execution. Okay, so again, I'm going to just do some quick one-offs. Account type is going to be the hard one. I still need to do some fixes to it. I'm sure it'll make its way into Community Edition eventually, says Marcus. Marcus. Code coverage feature is available in Visual Studio Enterprise Edition. Yeah, I really remember having it as well as IntelliTest. Oh, being able to right click on a method and do create tests. That was kind of fun. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna try this. Make sure it rebuilt. That is there. Okay. We push button. Why are you still going to payees? Sumimasen. You are supposed to create a new account view model. I did save, right? And of course, these payees should be showing up. Oh, yeah. We also need to, when we create a new one, have them populate into the list immediately. All right, there we go. Accounts. We got an error 400, which says the account type field is required. Dang it. Yeah, so I'm really going to need to make sure to populate both when we're managing accounts, which is really annoying. So account type 1 is checking. I clicked on view definition. Ink. Okay, give it another shot. Try it. Log in. Error 500. Link expression for DB set of account where could not be translated. Either rewrite it or. Okay. And where is it in our code that it's trying to do that? It is down here. Line number, please. Add lookup item. There it is. Line 30. I think not. I think maybe a little bit further down. Somewhere around, ¿cómo se dice? Here. Oh, right. It's probably that was probably client side. Aquí. Oh, that's controller. That's why. Yeah. So controller line 30 makes sense. But it didn't give me the actual line number in the add lookup item. But we know that it's the method add lookup item. So it's got to be here. And so why are you weird getting the queryable for accounts? It's probably the to view model. I knew that too. So the problem with this one is we are using a link to entities statement and trying to use a custom method within our application. And so Entity Framework and SQL, by extension, knows nothing about this to view model thing. And so it's like, I don't know what to do with this method. So I really do have to dot select X arrows new account view model. What would be cool is also having a version of this does that gives back the entity, which I think I could do. Yeah, I'm gonna write that real quick as well. But first, let's do I equals count type count type ID. So order value text. Isn't there one more? Last updated date? Hello? Unless you don't have a matching last updated. Last updated. I don't have a last updated by. Deleted. Which none of them are deleted, apparently. Okay, so I don't have a delete flag in those tables yet, but I will want one for soft deletes. Um, so I'm kind of conflicted with Automapper, Marcus. I liked using it before, but debugging it wasn't the easiest. So what I've actually fallen back to is something that I was using before Automapper even, which is just using extension methods. And I know that Automapper also has a way to do entities to view models, but I don't know. I've kind of started moving away from using Automapper. just because it's harder for me to troubleshoot and debug. And then the other thing that kept happening to me is I would make my Automapper mapping profiles way too big. And so I needed to come up with some clever techniques for lazy loading them, but still making it fast enough that it doesn't feel like they're being lazy loaded. So I don't know. Okay, but we're going to see what this does for us. There's also a categories on payees that I would need to get back as well. Okay, so accounts should be working now. Here's a 200. Here's I updated 2 records. Why would save changes update 2 records? I wasn't paying attention to the one before, but it kind of seems like I updated 2 records previously as well. Oh, you know what? They're still showing. So actually, no, they're not. Dang it. The whole app refreshed. Well, poop. Okay, refresh. And show me the accounts. And we have our new account. All right, actually two more quick checks. One for our regular lookup list, and then one for our regular lookup list that has a non-int key. So a regular lookup list could be account type, for example. Oops. Lookup item view model of account type, I think. Hello? Why can't I control dot? Oh, lookup account type. That'd be why. With display text equals my new list item. There are no account types. Value text is 0. And that's all that we need to create a new one of those. Do this my refresh. And count types gives me a success with, oh, so the thing that I'm thinking of that could have happened, no, I don't know. The reason that account would have given back 2 records affected was because it somehow touched account type as well. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think it created a new account type. I think it created a new account type. View data. It didn't. Or this is stale and I need to refresh it. Yes. No. So it created a new checking account type with that previous record, which we're going to have to fix. Definitely. Anyway, thank you so much for the follow, Sanix Darker. Welcome into the One Lion of Code stream. I am One Lion. We've been working on a full stack development application in Blazor to make financial tracking application that you could use to manage your personal finances, manually track your funds that you are receiving and paying out to other people and transferring between accounts. So the only thing that I've been using well, I guess I've transferred between savings and checking before. Not often. But yeah, is for stuff like credit card payments. So I still count that as a transfer if I own both accounts because it would be money out from my whichever account I'm paying from and money into my credit card, for example. But yeah, Tyron was saying we used to use, or sorry, I'm adding words. He said we used it at work, it being Automapper, heavily. Found it brought nothing but headaches with setup and debugging issues. Finally, we saw a ton of performance issues too, so we ripped it out. Yeah, let me see if I can still open um, the app that got me to not want to use Automapper as much anymore. And then Marcus says, I automatically create my repository and service classes that use Automapper behind the scenes. It is similar to MVC scaffolding. That's cool. And is so with UI generator, like the word generator in there, are you using actual code generator types of classes? I don't know what T4. Oh, go to T4. Okay. I was like, I don't know what T4 is. All right. So generic DTO, maybe? Yeah, you are using generators, like actual generators. Here's your template. And so, what is the attribute that you use to generate this? I want to know. Yeah, this is really, really interesting stuff because I would like to do something similar to this with bot commands. So I have my basic template for a bot command, which is just a regular, or what I'm calling an I command or an ibot command. And as long as it has a description of timeout or cooldown time for user cooldown, global cooldown, and who can use it, like what level of access and above can run that command, and an execute method, where the execute method is either stored in a database or generated at runtime when I'm adding a command. I'll write the code for it in the command itself, or if it's just a response and it's a string response that raises the um, post to chat method, it's going to be cool. So I've been really, really interested in how to write my own generator so that it'll generate the code, add it to my class library, and then run it. So I know how to run code at runtime, load it in as a string, load it into the assembly, and then run the methods on it. But how to make it actually generate code, that's what I want to know. Really, really cool stuff, though. What was I opening here? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Open project or solution, if I still have it. Since leaving that previous job, I don't know that I have the repositories anymore. Excuse me. Yeah, it can be a bit confusing when you're writing code that writes code. And then writing code that writes code that then compiles the code and makes sure that there's no errors, and then can execute that code as part of the running code, which is the goal that I'm trying to achieve. Ooh, no. That's Team Foundation, though. I don't think I have RMA Git anymore. I think I deleted it. This would be the only other place that I would have had it. Okay, I don't have it. I don't have the code anymore. However, um, essentially, I reverse engineered or put however you want to word it, I put a .NET wrapper, a Blazor wrapper around the ArcGIS API that had a million billion different objects that I had to turn into C# classes and map those to the existing database records as well. So I had to go from existing database objects to these ArcGIS wrapped classes. And so I used a ton of reflection for that, but that ended up being over 100 profiles. And then I needed to find out how to split them up, how to load them correctly, and yeah. And Zuri's is here. I was asking about a technical a few weeks ago. I passed it and got the .NET job. Awesome. It's going to be rough. I'm basically a beginner going into a mid-level job, but I checked out that Git good. And I think I'll be all right. That's really, really awesome that you got the job. Congratulations on that. And yeah, I think it's going to be beneficial to you, provided you're allowed to you allow yourself to um, struggle. I'm trying to come up with a good word, with a word that doesn't seem so negative. You are allowed, you should be able to allow yourself to not know everything, to ask questions, to look like you don't know everything. Because the second that you start acting like you know everything and you don't reach out for help is when you're just going to put yourself in a big trap and stop learning and all of that fun stuff. So I strongly recommend just making sure that you keep yourself in mind and be kind to yourself. Um, Another part of allowing yourself to struggle and allow yourself to not know everything is that you don't expect yourself to also know everything and to be perfect at it all. Because the more you do that to yourself, the harder you are on yourself. Awesome. We'll be here to help as much as we can, Zuris. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can definitely ask as much as you want in our Discord, and the the thing that I would like for our Discord to be is just one resource of the many that you might use. So I hope you do continue using us to help you out. Okay. There was just one issue with what we did for figuring out or for adding an account. So I'll need to write some special logic for that. I do want to go back to that payees version, but before I do that, let me do the lookup recurrence type, which is a recurrence type, lookup recurrence type. and make sure that this one works. And if this one works, then everything except for account works as far as adding a new record. Are you going to rebuild or what? I'll manually refresh you. It'll be fine. Nope. Okay, so this one is another error 400, which we got before, which meant that it could not output the error. Or yeah, okay, so we're missing a required field, which is display text. Huh? Display text is not missing. You liar. Item name. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Right. You know what? Because I made lookup recurrence type into an enum, I don't want recurrence type to be editable. The only place that I want to be able to edit recurrence type is in code. We don't want to be able to modify it from the running application. So that said, we don't need a two entity model for that one. And instead, we will just return new not implemented exception. And then I'll write a note to myself. Yeah, so if I ever wanted to add a new recurrence type, then I would go into the database. Yeah, here it is. And add a new enum value. And the problem was that when I was trying to send this request to the server, it was using value 0. And value 0 is just, it doesn't exist in here. And it also wouldn't have the recurrence type info attribute. So it wouldn't have a display text either. Oh, oh. Yes. Okay, so that's expected behavior. So I want to go back to the account issue. Man, making good time. We still have an hour left. Okay, so let's do account view model. There we go. Okay, and we're going to get a new list item for account when we use it. However, we need to update our logic for the lookup list service on the server. Marcus is saying, doesn't that mean that you have to recompile the application every time you change the enum? Yes, absolutely, and that's the point. Not only that, but because I'm using code first database migrations, I would need to create a new migration as well to get the new value into the database. And so the point of that is there are no other recurrence types, at least for the way that we experience time, than these that are listed here. So it's a set once, and it's always going to be this. And thank you so much for the follow. Oh my goodness, I can't read. Sahil Bansal, if I said it correctly. Please forgive me if I didn't, and correct me if you feel like it. Welcome to the One Lion of Code stream. I'm One Lion. And my hair is getting bigger, so I almost have my mane back. But yeah, the custom enum will be the catch-all, essentially. Yeah, Juan. Okay. Count in the lookup item service, which we're in, and it's in the add. So I haven't implemented update and delete yet. Back. Hopefully those are pretty easy. Found rec. Okay, so here we are going from the view model to the entity model. And the issue that is occurring is when I am getting the entity model, if we are an account view model and we are returning back the account item, we are not what? We are not setting. Oh, we are. We're setting the account type information without updating the ID. So what this is going to look like is if account type is not null, then that means that we have an associated account record. But the problem is, I think the way that I am doing the account view model itself is when I change the account type ID, I'm not changing item account type ID. I am changing account type ID. Oh, on the item itself, not on item.account. So I could either go item dot yeah, this thingy as well. Actually, oh my goodness, that sucks. Yeah, I can either set item.account type .id equals whatever the value is that we're trying to set for it. When I'm setting the account type ID for the account view model itself, or I can just make sure that I clear out the account type record. So that entity framework just uses the account type ID only. Let's try it this way first, which is I am also setting the account type ID here. Because what was happening is it saw an account type object when I was updating the record or when I was adding the record up here. It's seeing in the new rec the account type object for that account entity was not null and it had an ID of 0 for the associated account type record, which means create a new account type with all of the information from the account type associated item. Another thing that I could do is, because I don't want to lose the associated account type object here, so I'm starting to like this better, is only in the add method will I do if new rec is account, not account type, account by itself, and then we'll assign it to ACK. then account.account type is null. We'll just remove the reference to, we can't make it null because it's a required navigation property. Yeah, the better idea is to make sure that we do get an account type. Does -1 actually say use the account type from the account record? The account type ID? Because this account type is the navigation property. Wait. This account type here, there we go, is the navigation property for the one-to-one relationship. Or not one-to-one, many-to-one. One account to many account. One account type to many accounts. So like if you had 4 or 5 checking accounts, for example, then it would be 4 records in the account table with just the checking account type navigation property. Oh my gosh, that was hard. And that should be identified by this account type ID. Did that make sense? I hope it made sense. So yeah, as long as I populate the account type ID with the right value, then we should be good to go, right? Let's give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? Did you just refresh? Excuse me. There was an error. There was an error. What's the error? We're trying to insert into account types, and we can't. Can I do default maybe? No, because again, that's going to be null. And if I did this, then it's going to complain at me and say the account type is null. I mean, we'll try it. But if anyone has any suggestions, I'm open. I'm definitely open to trying. So the most recent error was that the account type object was not null. However, the account type field, the account type ID field, that's a good suggestion, Dukasoft. I'll take it. The account type field, the ID field of the account type was non-zero, which means that it's an existing record and we're trying to insert a new account type with a non-zero ID, and we can't do that when insert identity is turned off. Yeah. So let's just try this and see what happens. That is a 200 OK, and there is only one record affected. That might have worked. Are you using the right account ID? Account type ID. No, because I didn't get a new record in accounts. Excuse me, why are you telling me that you were successful? Oh, because I didn't refresh. You got to refresh, kid. And there we go. Yes, we are using the correct ID. So that's kind of, I've been doing so many things that feel like hacks. Is this the right way to do it? Wakarimasen. One says, code the hacks. That's what it feels like half the time. There is no right way. Yeah, because right now what I'm doing is I'm taking a view model that has as part of it the actual database entity. And part of that database entity is this navigation property. I'm going to go with it. We're going to go with that. Because if I was creating a new account record by itself from scratch, then the account type would not get populated. I would only populate the account type ID. So for example, what I mean by that is if we came down here and we said the new record is an account and we did new rec equals new account with name, account.name and account type ID, account type ID, then account type would get non-nullable default. I mean, default, forgive me. I know it's not going to be null, even though in this case I want it to be null. You could have code that checks the account type exists first, otherwise it creates it. But I wouldn't want that to happen with a post to account. I would definitely want that to throw an error that says the account type doesn't exist. To create a new account type, use the account type management, which will be on the account screen. You just click on the plus sign to create a new account type. And that's the thing. I want the person, which is me, of course, I want the person responsible for the UI to make the right choices in how to display the UI, which is when you're maintaining accounts, you're able to add new accounts by choosing from an existing list of account types. If you need a new account type, you would add a new account type first and then create your new account of that type. So like I didn't put in here loan, I don't think. Yeah, so like an account type could be a loan, for example. And so I would want to, when I'm creating a new account that is of type loan, see that I don't have loan in my drop down list, but I can click the plus sign and say add loans to my account types, save that, and then click on the add for my overall account itself. Does that make sense? I need to stop asking that. It does make sense. It's just, it's a choice, I guess. So, yes, I like this. I do. So, that begs the question what happens if we try to specify an account type that doesn't exist? I'm going to refresh anyway. And what about logging? 1-1? Okay, so 200, okay. However, we did get back an error. So I like to do all of my error handling as gracefully as possible. I don't want it to give me back an error 500. I want my response model to be the one that says, you are not able to add this record because XYZ. And so in this case, the XYZ is you violated foreign key constraint account type ID. There is no account type ID that matches the one that you're trying to give to this account. Therefore, the thing that I should present to the user is create the account type. But there's no way for them to just create the account type from the account screen unless they click the plus sign, which has a process that will save the new account type, and then they can use it. I guess the thing that could happen is no, not even that, because I'm going to have soft deletes. I was going to say a thing that could happen is you're on your machine and you have two instances of the app running that are both talking to the same database, and then you delete the account type on one of your browsers. You go back to your other browser that still has the account window open, you select the one that was deleted, and then you click add, and it's like that account type doesn't exist, but it will exist. It's just the account type will be deleted, and it'll give you a different message back. Hello, Fright. How have you been doing? Fright says, as a noob developer, I am reaping bugs, styling in tender apple. I'm sorry, what? I think person in my company who brought this app had mental issues. I have good working condition. Money as a noob developer are good, but Angular is hard. Oh, you're doing Angular. Logic in this app is crazy. How many years, months did you need to master framework? I don't feel good with this framework. Also, my mentor is programming rockstar. Oh no. I have jobs as programmer since 4 months, and I didn't build program from ground zero, and I am afraid of it. Did you have such problems? So, my development journey is definitely one that should give you confidence in your ability, because it took me a really, 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 really long time. I don't know what tender applications are. Unless you're saying Tinder, in which case that's cool. But it took me quite a while to really understand programming. So I started my first development experience. Well, I guess it was VB6, but it wasn't chicken tenders. It wasn't anything official. It was a while ago, and my first official programming stuff was my first year of university, which I started with Java and C and C++. And I was so lost. Yeah, QBasic for me, I guess, in middle school, but I never used it for anything professional. But I did write an entire song across like 4 or 5 different computers and played them all at the same time, and it was really fun. It was really, really fun. But so, and actually, my dad had a Commodore 64, which I wrote BASIC on by reading the manual, but all I did was copy whatever was in the manual and see the ball bounce back and forth and stuff. Moving on. Year 2000, I failed at programming my first year of college. I pretty much flunked out. And then I went to school very, very part time. So I was really only doing one programming class per semester, plus all of my general education stuff, undergrad stuff. And it was just really hard for me to catch on until about 2005. You failed your programming class too, Tyron? Jeez. Yeah, I failed that my Java one the first year, and then OCaml. I took a operating systems class and fell flat on my face. So I failed that one. And then a lot of my UGE classes. But then around 2005, something clicked. So 5 years after I started learning software development, actual programming. Live coding is like, oh, Camel, so hot right now on Twitch. I think you were the one that brought it up too the other time, and that made me remember that. Um, so yeah, 5 years before I actually started making headway. Then I picked up Java, picked up a little bit of Oracle, a lot of VBA, so VB for Microsoft applications. And that got me a little bit more comfortable with object-oriented programming. But 2009 would be the next milestone that I hit where I picked up .NET. And at the time, it was ASP Classic because the system that I worked on was still an ASP Classic web forms application. But then I learned MVC in 2012, 2011, 2012 using .NET, and then just kept going from there until I finally felt comfortable with it in about 2017, which is when I started the job at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. Wait, that was 2019. 2017 was the VA. Yes, Microsoft Access, absolutely. So I was using VBA for Excel and Access. And actually, this application is a Microsoft Access application that I wrote for myself that uses a ton of VBA. I don't know that I can show this safely, but we'll try. Let's go with this one. Connection string? Anything? Oh yeah, form enter payment. Yeah, okay. So here is in beautiful non-dark mode. I don't even know if there's a dark mode. All of the code that is currently running this application in Access, which is all of my my combo box handlers, my button handlers. You can see based off of the names in this. So the not in list says if I type something into my equivalent of this dropdown that doesn't exist in the dropdown list, it'll create one automatically for me, even if I typo it, which is really annoying. And then it also does checks for when you click on submit. I don't even know where that button is. Yeah, so when you submit, it checks for any existing transactions that match the one that you just entered by date and pay to and amount. And so this is why I'm trying to make it into a .NET application. I don't want to use Access anymore. It's already a SQL server. It just happens to be that the Access application is pointing to that SQL server. So bright, so bright, so blinding. Okay, anyway, point is, don't get down on yourself for not picking stuff up super fast. Same advice that I was giving to Zuri's earlier, which is allow yourself to struggle. Self. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on the responses that live coding gave to you and anything else that came in after that. But live coding said to Fright, sometimes the code is so scary you never master it. The dev who wrote it has a huge advantage, especially if they don't make their code easy to understand. True. And I also, when you bring that up, I also think about what the code bases might look like for the people, for any new developer at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal that has to read my code. But I did do a ton of documentation. So hopefully you at least have a little bit of that. I won't be able to log into it, will I? I still have access to it. Documentation. Documentation. So yeah, I wrote a ton of information for any future developers, including how to get started, what the project makeup looks like, where things are stored on the server, all of the good stuffs, so that they at least have something that they can reference to be able to look at my code and be like, okay, I get the gist. At least I hope. And then for every single application, what that application does and how to maintain it and all of that. So hopefully you have that. If you don't have that, and you only have a resource that is a rockstar senior developer, hopefully they have a good personality and they're willing to walk you through learning the code base, answering your questions, getting you set up. And barring that, if you don't have that, you always have our Discord server. Okay, continuing to read. Try to master small parts is live coding suggestion for that. It's probably okay to master your project, but or wait, probably okay to never master your project, but try to master small parts of it, I guess. And then also Angular is pretty notorious for being hard to learn relative to other JavaScript frameworks, so be encouraged or else. Live coding said it's best not to show VBA to the stream. You'll have to set the you'll have to set the mature content flag. It's terrible. Oh my gosh. Tiger flap. You'd have to edit each property individually for dark mode. Oh yeah. I kind of remember that. You change the actual editor background color and then the font. Yeah. So Fright was wondering, what do you think about programming rock stars? Question also to everyone. And Live Coding was saying VBA famously didn't support the mouse wheel scrolling at some point, and I had to install a plugin to make it work. Oh man, you have no idea what you're missing until the mouse wheel doesn't work. Yeah, agreed. And then Live Coding was responding to Fright's question. Seriously, rock stars do exist, but more likely I've seen programmers who are good at writing code that is hard for others to maintain. They're called cowboys. Cowboy coding can be fun though, where you just don't really give a flying falcon about other people needing to read it and you're just like, I'm gonna hack this thing together. Oh wait, that's exactly what I'm doing. Marcus is saying the problem is working with someone else's code. You don't know what's wrong or what's going on, I guess, and what's right without a lot of testing. And Fright said, I don't have documentation for this tender application. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by tender application, but maybe it's like a greenfield application. It's new-ish. Or maybe you do actually mean tender. I just don't know. I don't know what tender application is. But yeah, when I got to the current position, actually both. When I was working at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, I inherited a code base that was JSP. So again, I had to reach back into my 20 years ago. I did Java. It was less than 20, 15 years ago. I did Java and JSP applications. I actually did my senior project as a JSP application, but I had to reach back into my memory on how exactly those things are put together and read their code base and then translate what they had written to C#, which is easier than going from C# to Java, by the way, in my opinion. So going from Java to C# and then from C# to, or from MVC to Blazor, and it was great. It's fantastic. Oh wow, Juan is saying, have you seen this presentation where a guy hid a virus in a code base and asked the development team to find it, and they couldn't? Yeah, if you find it, definitely give us a link. Sounds like a cool challenge. That was one of my favorite programming assignments, was to read assembly, find the code that makes the bomb explode, modify the right values so that it doesn't trigger that bit of code to run, and then run the application and then it should send an email to the instructor successfully. Otherwise, it sends an email to the instructor that says the bomb exploded. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so that was a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed that little break. I'm going to go ahead and locally commit this code since it's working the way that we're expecting it to. Or 3. Actually, should I keep this here for now? Because I'm going to do some updates as well. So I'm going to keep this code here so we could test some stuff. Updated the, not updated, implemented the add lookup item. Now, I don't know what to call it, code. What did I modify in you guys? Right. I turned off the edit form lock because I don't have a UI that pops up and says you've modified this form. Are you sure you want to move on and unsave changes? Well, blah, 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 blah. So anytime that I would show you guys that, hey, you can select anything you want from this drop-down list, I wasn't able to navigate away without it locking up and being angry at me. So anyway, that's fine. I just moved those around, didn't actually change anything. Okay, I think we're okay. I think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be anyone around. Yes, save and commit. Okay, so I committed that locally. We're going to now implement the update. Actually, let's do delete next, just because I think it's going to be easy. Watch me be super duper wrong. Actually, no, it's not, because I'm doing soft deletes, and not everything has a delete field. Let's go take a look at what needs a delete field. Let's keep only the lookup list service. And the data entry form. Good. Good. Close everything else, please. Hello, prog testing. No rest for the wicked. Did you not get any rest, or did you? I would assume you got rest if there's no rest for the wicked. But then again, that also doesn't say anything about whether the non-wicked get rest or not. Anyway, hi, prog testing. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a fantastic holiday break. I don't know if you actually celebrate Christmas or not, but if you do, I hope it was a great Christmas. And if you do family stuff, that you enjoyed being with your family. Merry late Christmas and happy early New Year. New Year. Yeah. New Year's celebration. We'll go with that. Okay. I have everything that I want open. Did I implement the remaining? Dang it. Oh, yeah. Let's go with delete, like I said before. I don't think that's going to work the same, but that's okay. Everything is Zen. Make you resync. Oops. Wait, delete from JSON is a thing? Is this new? I don't remember there being a delete from JSON that would automatically deserialize the response that you get back into, at least that's what I'm assuming this does. Sends a delete and returns the value that results from deserializing the response body as JSON. Yeah. This would be a base. I don't remember having this before. But then again, well, I could be wrong. Yeah, response model base of int. It's definitely what we're trying to get back. So we can't convert from, because you need to be response model base of int. Food. Ooh. Sugar. Ooh. And then URL pattern is a PI lookup slash lookup list type slash cool ID. And that should be everything that we need. Deleted to do the delete request from the client side. So let's go. Oh, I forgot the controllers. Let's go over to our API because this is the version of the app that we're actually using. Make sure that the delete is set up. So there is a HTTP delete. Okay. And then that eventually takes us to the server side implementation of delete, which we're going to implement right meow. So the first thing that I like to do is initialize the thing that I am returning as a response, and then return that thing. All right, Juan Van, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. If you do find that video that you were talking about, put it in shared any or something in Discord, if you're part of Discord, of course. And thank you for joining our Discord series. Again, really hope that we can be a resource to you. I don't expect to have our server be like the go-to place for all of your questions, but definitely feel free to use us as an resource for any of your questions. And we'll go ahead and make this async because I'm pretty sure we will be doing some asynchronous work in there. Cheers, beef. Yes, I love beef. Okay, we need to first find a record of this type by ID. And to do that, we're going to use the same methodology that we used up here for getting the queryable version of that type. Yes. Thank you, Copilot. It's still so impressive. It blows my mind. This and ChatGPT, I have been using it more often. I'm trying not to. It does give a lot of wrong answers and I guess misleading answers that look like they should be right. The thing that I was looking for recently was finding a free way to do text to speech and speech to text. And one of the things that I found was called Deep Speech by Mozilla. And I was like, how do I use Deep Speech in a .NET console application? And it's like you just install the NuGet package, obviously, and there is no NuGet package for it. Or there are NuGet packages for it. Sorry. What was the other one? I just don't remember what was going on with Deep Speech. But yeah, it just kept giving me answers like these things should exist, but they just don't exist. One another one was the reading an resource file in a WPF application by crawling the assembly and directories. Yeah, future answers is what it is. And it was like you just use this read resource SAML or something like that, read resource XML method. And I'm like, that method doesn't exist. And I was even checking .NET Framework just to see if it was giving me answers from .NET Framework, and nope. Okay, anyway. Otherwise, yeah, I really want the. I guess I wouldn't need that. I guess I wouldn't need that. We can still go uh, if not lookup list dot any x arrows x dot id crap x dot value text, because we know that no matter what, value text is going to be the ID of the record that we're looking for. So x dot value text is equal to our passed in ID dot to string. The otherwise, now that we have or I guess we need to get the record. So var view model is lookup list dot first or default. I'm not finishing my sentences again, and I know I'm not, so I apologize for that. So what I'm doing here is I am getting the record from our returned queryable view models with the record that matches the passed in ID, but the way that I'm doing that is using the value text property of the lookup list because we don't know what the ID property type is. You write the documentation first, they said. um, and so in one case, well, again, for the lookup recurrence types, it's if we have an enum as the ID, it's a non-maintainable list from the app. But anyway, So if view model is null, if we didn't find an entity turned into a view model from down, yeah, from these, oops, then we get the same message back. Otherwise, if the view model is not null, then the record to delete agreed. I agree. Did we get rated or something? I didn't even I didn't even notice. Wow. Yeah, I don't really have the viewer count showing anywhere unless I click on the thing in my dashboard. And yeah. Anyway, still gonna present to you guys like it's you guys. So we're going to turn this view model into the entity model. That's bad. Oh, wow. Wait, what? Thank you for the sub. It didn't actually tell me that you subbed. Um, I don't know. Emotes that you made. So if, yeah, it'd be about like on average 10 users, maybe 10 viewers. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm not going to turn you down, Bob Ross. And Dukasop gave you a shout out. Are you going to be streaming soon, Bob Ross? I'll follow you. How to encourage someone to stream. We're going to away, or no, we're just going to set this entity that we got back, which we need to make sure that we don't delete the. No, oh my gosh. We're going to track this record. Context dot. What's the word I'm looking for? Attach the record that we found so that we can record to delete dot deleted equals true, because again we're going to soft delete these things, and because we're deleting it we also want to update the last updated so that any of our cached values on the client side, when it does the request to go and fetch all of the lookup values as of a certain date, then those would get updated as well. So we're going to set it to now. And because we attached it here and then we made modifications to the record, it's going to see that we have an updated record. So this is going to be marked as modified. So rest.record count is equal to, save changes. Is there an attach async, by the way? No, just checking. And the record ID is going to be the passed in ID. There is no .id on record to delete. It's just an iLookup item, which is not guaranteed to have an ID because we don't know what the type on ID is. Or on, you know what I meant. Great content, but yeah, okay, so Bob Ross did push the button to share that he subscribed. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. I wish you zero commercials, zero ads. Grand total of $27.93. That includes gifted and owned subs. Awesome. Well, I do really appreciate that. You should clearly stream making the emotes. Absolutely. I would, but I could promise that you don't want to hear my father in the background shouting at the dog. Just get a crisp, or if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, I don't know where you get the NVIDIA audio thing, and it'll just cut out his voice. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. There's ways around all of it. Did I even read all of the chat from earlier? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay. So I think that this should be the delete method. And so our getters, yeah, our getters are still going to give back all records. And then it'll be up to the client to determine whether or not to display the deleted records. So for example, let's try deleting one of the new records that we created from account type. View data. So ID 6, for example. And thank you, Noxy 2014 for the follow. Welcome to the, I was going to say Daily Code Fun. Welcome to One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. The project that we are currently working on has been posted to chat by our amazing mod, Dukasoft. We are working on a financial management tracking application that you can use to track your finances, your spending habits, your savings, credit cards, etc. And yeah, it's just meant to be a full stack Blazor development application with all of the fixins, with design, with planning, database setup, everything. You got to create a stack over a new one. Are you sure you want to go back there? Anyone that knows Rust? You know who might know Rust? Chat GPT. Okay. Anyway, let's try out this delete real quick. Delete lookup item. And then we have to give it a type. So we need delete lookup item of lookup item view model, lookup account type. So I don't like that this is how we're going to have to specify our delete. But we saw that it was record ID number 6. And so if we save that, let it rebuild or apply the changes, and we push the button way down here, then it says it worked. It says it deleted one record with ID 6 from this table, and it marked it as deleted. So yeah, we do have a soft delete working. It updated the timestamp, and this is in UTC because I store all of my date time in SQL as UTC. Yeah. Proc Testing says, I love the amount of problems ChatGPT is causing among developers right now. I'm using it sparingly at the moment. But I am using it because it's still extremely impressive. Have you had a conversation with it? Have you talked with it about non-develop or maybe even opinionated development stuff? I fed to it a set of, or I don't know what to call it, an excerpt from some of our story, and it gave us this really insightful review of the scene that we gave to it. And it captured it understood the feel that we were trying to convey. And it was so cool. It was very cool. Yeah. It doesn't create code nine times out of 10, good code. But the thing is, it gives you a bunch of ideas. And I think we are starting to understand the way that we're supposed to be using AI for now until it gets better. Where instead of using the AI to write the code for us to be 100% accurate and correct, it gives us some hints, some ideas of where to go with our code. And we may get inspired by it. So it's not really intended to replace us, it's intended to enhance us, to help us to choose different approaches. It did teach me how to run code from a string at runtime. So my app is running, I feed to it a string of code that looks like C sharp. It compiles it, makes sure that there are no errors, and then runs and gives me the output. Awesome, amazing, cool stuff. And that's how I know that the bot, we're gonna be able to do crazy things with the bot. It's gonna be fun. The one that I really wanted it to help me with, because I know very little about machine learning, is to create a an AI, a machine learning conversation model type thing. And it's been really slow going. I am not smart enough for that yet, but I'm gonna keep trying. So anyway, delete seems to work. Let's do an account view model with ID 3. I know, I know. Oh man, we did so much. I'm really happy with the pacing of today. So you do have a deleted flag. That's cool. Um, let's just verify that it works then. So we saved, it refreshed, and go down here, wait for it to finish loading, push the magic button. Ooh. Account view model with ID 3 was not found. So I should have been, oh, I'm at 5. Who said 3? I didn't say 3, I said 5. Everyone said 5. And hello, Xcoding. Merry Christmas to you too, if you celebrate Christmas as well. If not, if you took it as a holiday break, I hope you had a fantastic break. And that New Year's, if this is going to be New Year's for you, and you're not on a different calendar than us, then I still hope that the turn of the new year or holiday break is extremely enjoyable for you. And there we go. Record ID deleted 5. And according to this, it is now marked as deleted as of now. So that's awesome. We got 2 major things done. We got the add and delete. And so the only thing left is an update, which for this app, there aren't going to be very many updates. Maybe the user will want to rename their account, and that would be the first update. Undeleting accounts would also be an update. Changing the account type would be an update. But as far as lookup values, there aren't going to be very many updates unless the user typoed or wanted to rename one of their payees or something. But yeah, I'm going to check this in. Implemented delete. And then I'll push. So this code will be available in the repository as of meow. Feel free to check it out. Feel free to play with it. Ask questions during the stream. Ask questions in Discord. And yeah, that's going to be it for the stream today. I will be back again tomorrow. As I mentioned before, I'll be streaming each day this week from Tuesday until Friday. And then starting next week, I will not stream on Monday. but we'll be back to a normal schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed your time. We're going to head on over to another streamer that I've been watching this whole time. I just really enjoy his streams. His name is Simple Game Dev. He's making a really, really cool indie game that looks, it's inspired by Half-Life and Portal. I like the shirt too. It's one of my favorites. And so we're going to head over to him, say hello. Feel free to join me over there. If not, I hope to see you again tomorrow or just sometime in the future. All right. So, ciao for now. Thank you, everyone that was here. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you later. Juice. Oh, and then, of course, the video will be posted to YouTube sometime after 24 hours. We'll get a raid message sometime. I'm really close. I'm getting closer to Ubisoft. You'll be able to add your own commands soon. Okay.